So today what we'll be working on is we're going to be working on some more mount stuff again. We're going to be working a couple of, I would consider them slightly unorthodox positions, but they do come up in from both situations. Either the first one we're going to do is called the samurai roll to the back. So it's a situation where you're on top of mount and your opponent's really good at shrimping away, and they get your foot inside, and you're able to roll up and around and actually take their back. So that's the first one we're going to do today. And then the second one we're going to do today is the triangle from mount. So getting into a triangle position. Submissions from the top are always better off than getting to your back, but you can set this up, and this in my opinion, especially if you're a beginner, is one of the safest ways to set up a triangle choke. And if you've been following my videos so far, I haven't really talked about the triangle before, because when you try to triangle somebody, you risk losing your position. And so unless you make it like something that you're really focused in on from the bottom guard, it's not something I think beginners should go for. Maybe definitely know about and know how to defend against, but it is it can definitely be, something where, a beginner goes, oh, I know what a triangle choke is, and they throw that leg up and to go for that triangle choke, and they miss it, and now that person just, or even they're not, they're not very good at it, and the person sort of shrugs away and then comes out, and now you're worse off than you were before. So today I'm going to show you a variation of a triangle choke that is much more, it's easier to do and easier to finish. Okay, so this first move we're going to do is, like I said, it's called the samurai roll to the back, and this happens when your opponent, so I'll be bottom first in this situation. So I'm going to be mounted, right? And my opponent, and so I decide I'm going to push his leg through. So I turn like I would, and I push the foot, or I go to push the foot, okay? And I can't get the knee. So a common, because they're pushing on it, like a lot of times people will also weigh this down. And sometimes a good way to try to start this is to bring the foot in like this, right? And this is what we call 3/4 mount. So the guy's sitting on top of you, and you have his foot. And so now he can't really go anywhere with it, right? So that's why we call it 3/4 mount, because it's not a full mount. I have the foot here. And so you apply pressure here on the knee, which keeps me from pushing this leg through. And if the pressure's down, then your opponent can't even can't even swing this leg up because the pressure on the knee. So I'll show you what that looks. So again, from the bottom, if I'm trying to push this knee in, right, one thing people can do is they can weigh on it. So they weigh on this knee right here. And so I take this foot and I actually grab their foot like this and pull it in. And now we're at 3/4 mount. This is a common reaction to this situation, because if I'm trying to push and they're weighted down over here like this, then I'm going to at least try to grab something. So a lot of times your feet just automatically swing over and grab into that foot, okay? So from the top, what that kind of looks like is like this. So he's got my foot, and I've got my knee pressed down onto the mat, okay? Sorry, just make a quick adjustment to my computer. There we go, okay. So again, the opponent grabs your foot and you're here like this. Okay, imagine this is clamped here. Now, this is actually a position that you can get into from another's position as well. If you go to from half guard. This is another way that you could potentially enter this scenario. There's a step back escape that is good for when you're underhooked. You want to escape, and so a lot of times you'll end up in this position with your knee on this side. So to make sure this move works, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to keep the knee heavy. So you want to put your weight on the knee, and so the back side, this outside leg over on this side doesn't have a lot of weight on it. I'm actually like able to lift this knee up because it doesn't have a lot of weight on it. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure 4 this foot. So this foot is here, right? And they're usually clamped down on you kind of like that. And so what you're going to do is you're going to figure 4 this foot. So this leg, your side leg, the free leg, since you're floating on it, is going to come back and hook behind your knee. So you're going to go like this, and you're going to go like this. And then you're actually also going to catch this foot just like that. So actually, is that the right foot? You want to catch the one on top. So now we're here like this, right? And this is fun for you acrobatic people. Okay, so I'm here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to come over like this, right? And I'm gonna grab this foot, okay? And I don't even necessarily need to grab this foot, but grabbing this foot definitely makes it easier. And so when I do this move, I'm going to roll over this shoulder, grabbing this foot, and you'll see what happens when I do this. So again, this foot sometimes is locked, and that's okay because I'm just going to come over this foot, and I'm making that figure 4 on my foot. It looks like it's really complicated, but I promise if you try it, you'll be like, oh, that's not as hard as I thought. So this knee is on the mat. He's trying to push it through. He can't get this leg through. So a lot of times this foot will be here like this behind. And that's okay. Because once I get this figure forward, my leg's in the right spot. So I grab this foot like this, and I'm going to roll over my shoulder like so. And then notice, see how it rolled back over like that? Now, I'm just going to come up and boom, I've taken my opponent's back. And if you do this right, there are actually there's a couple really good moves that as a big guy, I'd be inclined to do with my legs still inside. And when we talk about back stuff, I'll definitely go over those. But this also leads to you can also use this position to get to a more advanced position called the truck, which can also lead to the twister. And if you're a follower of 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, or if you have done any studying of 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, this is a common way to get it. It's actually was coined. The move itself has been around for a while, but the name was coined by Eddie Bravo's team of jiu-jitsu guys. Okay, so see if I can't get a better angle on it, because that was kind of a weird angle. So again, your opponent has pushed your knee down. You were on mount. You felt the knee push coming, so you waited on this side. They grabbed your foot, and now your foot's trapped underneath your opponent like so. So once again, I'm going to hook my foot. So this is I'm waiting on this knee. If I don't wait on this knee, he's just gonna push my leg down. And now I'm in half guard. So I put the weight down on this knee. I lean into it, right? And then I'm gonna hook this foot. So notice how this foot is, I can bring that, at least that foot off the ground, right? So I'm gonna hook behind that foot. Now that foot is behind my knee. Okay, you can't see it, but I have this whole leg that I'm sitting on right now wrapped up in my legs. Okay, and then again, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reach for this near side leg, okay, and I'm gonna roll over my shoulder. All right, notice, now this can get confusing partly because you go, well, once I'm here, which way do I roll? All right, it's common for that question to be asked. Once I'm mounted, which way do I roll? So if you remember, I roll to the back, and that should be pretty easy because it's very smooth to roll down here like this as I reach for that foot. Okay, so again, I'm gonna reach for that foot, grab that foot like this, and then I'm already here. So I'm actually just gonna drop that shoulder and roll like this. And when I keep going, you'll notice that this is the truck position that I was talking about. So I've got the leg, got this, and I can't really see that. Try to get this over. So I got this leg trapped here, and I got this. All right, but we're not using that to go to truck today. We're using it to go to the back. So if I just keep extending out, then I can sit up and take my opponent's back and work on attacking the back. And again, we'll go over those chokes. Well, a little bit next week, but that's really the week after, 2 weeks from now. So yeah, so I've come in, I've rolled them up. I'm gonna stay here like this. It's very hard for your opponent actually to get away. You got these, when they got this hook in, but in tournaments and practice, you're not gonna get any points for this. So the reason how you get points is my one hook's in, I'm gonna bring them in, and I'm gonna gable grip, right? Pulling them in, and then I'm going to get this foot up and over the body so I can get this second hook inside. And when I get that second hook inside, like this, then I'll get my points. But again, for my bigger body, when I do that, I have trouble controlling. So when you have a smaller person, the hooks are good, and there's a figure four body lock, and also these couple other things that you can that we'll play around with, like I said, next couple of weeks when we do mount stuff. Okay, so one more time, kind of from the beginning. Hopefully I can get a good angle on this. I'll try to roll maybe sideways if I can. That's good. Okay. So in this scenario, again, my opponent has tried to push me off here. So he grabs my foot. I'm going to come in and attach, hook underneath, go down, grab his foot, drop the shoulder to the mat. When I drop it, I'm going to kick and come up. And now there's his back. I'm going to take his back. And if I need to move up, I can move up and go to my attack positions from here. Okay, so this is a good transition. If I get that rear naked choke or whatever. But like I said, we'll talk about that next week. Okay? All right, so that's one good transition. Now another transition that puts you in a slightly unorthodox position is the mounted triangle position. Okay, now that was the samurai roll to the back. This is going to go the other direction. This is the mounted triangle. Now, sometimes when you're mounted and you feel really good about your leg stability, all right? Some of you guys who have really agile and dexterous legs and can get in and out of wherever you need to go just using your leg dexterity. Unfortunately, not something I'm privy to, but this is a wonderful position to attack from if you can swing it. And smaller legs also work better because they can get into the choking parts of the scenario. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So this is a setup where you're on mount and your opponent did something wrong. You're able to pin their hand up. All right. And you're not a arm locker. You know, you're not a Americana guy. But you got their arm pinned up here like this. And sometimes this works best if you got a little bit higher over here. And maybe we call a little bit of, again, 10th planet stuff, a monkey mount. So your foot is on their hip like this. And that way you can come up real high and like you got this arm in here like this. Any way you can control this arm, there's variations in positioning. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna control this arm out pretty wide. So imagine, you know, like a normal arm might go out to here. These are pretty stubby arms. So again, if you have very dexterous legs, this is the move for you. You're gonna pull up on the head. That's real important. If I'm up high and the head's on a mat, that gives them leverage to buck up. So you want to be able to pull on this head here. So this is kind of how I like to do this too, is I'll pull up on this head like this. So I'll be a mount and I'll just pull up on the head with one hand like this, okay? And that keeps them from bridging, because in order to bridge, you have to go back. If the head's forward, I can't bridge, right? So maybe the head's up here like this. And what you're gonna do is this hand is gonna hold and you're gonna bring this leg through this space, all right? So if I've got the arm out here, there's space right here. You dexterous guys can do this pretty easily. There's also like more fast ways. Like if I'm holding this here, you know, I'm holding, I might just like, you know, swing that through as fast as I can, whatever. But now I'm sort of sitting on my opponent, and the other one can be a little slower. The other one can be a little like leg through deftly. And I know there are lots of people who can do this move. Again, my hips don't quite move the way I want them to for this. Plus choking, you know. So this is why I say jiu-jitsu, it's still good to know. It's always good to know the position, but it doesn't mean that it's going to work for everybody. So it's always a good idea to try a submission a few times, see if it's something you can do or can get close to doing, and with just a little bit of focus, you can get the rest of the way. But in this move in particular, like I said, it's very difficult for me because of the way my hips move. I can't quite get my leg through there while pinning the hand. So this isn't necessarily something that I go for. But notice, if I do get in this position, I am sitting on my opponent's chest, and I'm sort of S situation here on his chest. So this leg is back here like this. You probably can't see that, but there it is. So it's along their body here, and this leg's underneath their head, and this also keeps them from bridging. Okay, so the hard part about this is trying to get this arm controlled, which is kind of why if your knee's already up high and underneath this side when you do this, this can be real powerful, all right? If I had a smaller person here who could show you the power of the flexibility and the lean, I would definitely tap them in and say, show them this move, because there's like when you're built the right for this move, it's such a powerful move. It's such a powerful move. Because right now, if I was in this right, my knee would be way up high. I'd be leaning over that way. I'd have this arm underneath here like this, and I'd be under there, and it would just be like a super powerfully strong position. Okay. So in the gi though, it's actually real easy because I'm sitting on this arm, so they can't really come over to help. So I can grab this gi if it's like down, and I get my fingers around that sleeve and I can pull them up. If I'm not in the gi, I could probably grab the wrist 2-on-1 and pull it up. And then once it's up, I'm gonna bring that knee up so that it touches my foot. All right. Now again, this is what we call the triangle choke, and this is how you set it up. Now the arm across is exactly what I want. It starts to clear space, starts to make it easier for my legs to get together, and you can finish this from the top. That's another reason why I like this move, because you can finish it from the top. So I'm gonna lean forward with this arm on here. I'm gonna lean forward till I can get this leg up a little bit. And once I can get that leg up, then I can start putting this foot inside for my triangle choke. Okay, so I can put this foot inside and come forward, and then real easy, I can just keep this across, and then I can pull this head up. But like I said, with my larger frame, it definitely makes it more difficult to fill all this in. And again, I really wish I had a smaller guy to help a little bit in this situation to show you how to properly apply this, because like I said, it can be very, very powerful. And the hard part about it too is that you really feel like there's nothing that you can do. You can, if you yourself are small enough, you can roll up and wrap around the body and try to pull the person back, kind of like one of the escapes I talked about last week, because of how high I'm up and how forward I am. But if I'm way forward like this, it's going to be real hard to get the distance you need in order to grab the body. And ideally, you would be here like this. Now, what can happen when you're doing all this, when you're setting it up, is sometimes you'll get too far extended, and people can roll and twist their hips. And when they twist their hips, they can get you to go to your to this side, because you don't have any real way to base over here. So they'll usually twist and turn themselves this way and get up here like this. All right, this is that guarded triangle that I was talking about. So you get that leg inside and you finish that triangle from here. And again, you got to have that, ideally have that arm across and whatnot. So you can't, it's very difficult to defend the triangle choke from the top, okay? From the bottom though, you have more possibility. You have more possibility to escape and survive. So I'll show that one more time, best I can. All right, so I'm here, this arm's here ideally, and this hand's here like this, this hand's out here like this. I'm holding this guy's head up. I'm maybe even like grabbing his lapel so that so he can't get away or can't push down and bridge. And when I'm holding this arm out, when I'm going to slowly bring this up, and then I can snake this through, or I can quickly throw it through and end up sitting on top of the guy. Now you can see my knee over here, and that's how I want it. If my knee is too far down, I have to fix the arm by pulling it up and then bringing that knee up so it touches my foot. And when I lean forward, if I don't balance myself correctly, my opponent should roll me. So if I'm here and I go like this to rebalance myself, they should be twisting underneath me to try to roll me this way, because that's the way I have no base over here, okay? So while they're doing that, I'm gonna grab my foot and swing it through to try to finish this triangle situation. But the setup is very, powerful and it's very safe, right? Because you already have everything exactly where you want it to be to get to the finish. You've set it all up correctly to get to the finish. You've pulled their head up because you don't want them to bridge. You got their arm across because remember, every choke requires 3 sides. And this is your traditional leg triangle choke. We did arm triangle choke yesterday. So you'd have this arm choking the shoulder, just like in the arm triangle. The shoulder choking one side, the leg choking the other, and the calf pushing down on the head to make our third side. Okay, and yeah, so how do you get out of a triangle? All right, this deep, it's definitely going to be a struggle, but it is doable because you'll notice that when my foot's right here, it's very hard. You can't push against this shoulder because your shoulders, or sorry, this leg, because your shoulder's right here. This is the one that you have to think about. And so there is a way to deal with the triangle if somebody goes for a triangle. Because if you're basic, if you're new, somebody goes for a triangle, whether or not you're on bottom or on top, the idea is pretty much the same. And so I'll run through some defenses to that right now. So the first thing, that to set up a triangle from the bottom, all right, your guy here needs to isolate an arm. So there's lots of different ways you can do that. Some are more successful than the others. The basic way, which they teach for self-defense purposes, is to push this hand down and jump these hips up. So you end up kind of like this, all right? And your feet are together. It would be hard to do on Bob here, but just imagine this foot is behind my back and around my back here, right? So the first thing I want to do is I actually want to posture up. Because if they haven't broken me down, if I'm not down here for them to grab me afterwards, I should just be able to posture up and push till I can start to shrug this off. And this is why it's so easy to beat a triangle that with somebody who doesn't know how to do it very well. And so, especially when you're beginning, when you're right at the beginning of your phase, if you haven't been doing, if you don't know how to defend against triangles, people get real confident about the triangle ability because you don't know how to defend against them. So that's what I want to teach you guys. I want to teach you how to defend against them. So guys, they throw up those triangles. You want to stay as tall as you can, right? If they grab your head and come here, you're going to get broken down. You need a strong, straight spine. And what you're going to do is even getting up here like this, so they're really extended out. And once they're up here, they should start to break. And once it starts to break, you should be able to drive this shoulder, breaking that open, and then coming down here. See, now I'm in side control, where before I was in guard or even mounted, depending on the scenario. So that side control position from this can be very powerful. Now, sometimes your opponent does get here and they get you broken down. All right, so imagine my opponent's pulling me down and I can't get back up, right? I'm a strong guy, but I can't quite get my body mechanics to get the right leverage to come back up. There's some guys who can like put their body in the right position to kind of get back up again. And they're amazing, and if that's you, that's awesome. That'll work for you in that scenario. But for me, I'm kind of stuck, right? So imagine the guy's pulling it down. This is real tight and everything, and I'm like 2 steps away from getting choked, all right? I have a couple of potential ways to defend here. One is I can go down here like this. Because remember, in order to choke me, the arm's got to come over like this. And there are a few other things you have to worry about if you try to attempt this. But the main thing is here, now there's space here that you can't choke with. Okay? So if I drop my arm down here, there's space here so you can't choke. My arm's here, my shoulder is going to choke me. Okay? So if I go down here like this, then what I'm setting myself up for is a real easy transition into an omoplata. Because I'm defending, and then they can throw this leg up and over. And that I believe that a omoplata position is actually easier to get out of than a triangle position. So this would be my case scenario. I'd be like, oh, you got me in a triangle. I'm gonna drop this arm down. Give me an omoplata. That's way easier for me to get out, right? But that's something, again, you'll have to kind of play with a little bit to determine which one is easier for you to get out of. Is it going to be the triangle itself, or is it going to be the omoplata? All right. So that's first one. For the beginning of the triangle, you're like, no, I'm going to sit up tall. I'm going to sit up tall. I'm going to break this. I'm going to pass and go to the side. Second one is the arm inside. And most of the time, they'll switch to an omoplata. There are other potential things, especially with the gi on. There might be a choke there you have to worry about. So that can get you to defend. And then you'll end up in the actual like choke, which is where your arm's across like this. All right. So what I like to do when my arm starts to get across is I like to preemptively keep my arm from getting too far by putting my hand up like this. Okay. There's actually an escape where you put your hands here and your hand here, and you actually drive, you push down on the knee and you drive in like this. And it would look a lot better if I had somebody here who had me in a triangle. But there you go. So it's like across the back, grab the knee, drive it forward. And what happens is, so if you're here, right, I'll try to give you a visual for this at least. So if you're here like this, and you put your hands on the knee like this, and you drive it down, check out what happens. The foot here slides out from behind the knee until you get here. Now you've broken out of it. If you try to go up into the leg, you're pushing against this leg. That's two on your body, and it's not going to work. But if I grab here and I push this way, right, I twist this way, the foot will start to straighten out. That's the weakest point of the triangle, is the foot. The foot starts to weaken out and go like that. There is a little bit of a timing thing, but yeah. So anyway, that's all I got for you today. Like I said, this will be posted to YouTube later. If you have any questions, let us know. All right. Have a good one, guys.